that, reach out to me, because that is 10 marks going down the drain, which I wouldn't want it to. So for this class now, without wasting much of our time, we'll be looking at poetry, everybody. And the title of the poem we'll be looking at is The Journey of the Magi. What did I say? The Journey of the Magi. Some people say magi. It's magi. Now, if you know you have your textbook with you, I would want you to really pick it up now. Open to the page where the poem is found. It is a poem written by T.S Elliot, T.S Elliot, The Journey of the Magi. And I want you all to pay close attention to this lecture, okay? So moving forward, we are going to be moving forward now, okay? So the poem, The Journey of the Magi, you always know whenever you're writing the title of a poem, you indent, you put it in quotes. Hope you know that. Do not forget. A poem written by T.S. Eliot. Of course, it's under the non-African poem category. You know, we have the African poems, also have the non-African poem. This particular poem is under the non-African category, okay? And now you always know it's been a norm. Whenever we are analyzing a poem, whenever we are to examine a poem, we first begin by looking at the background of the poet, the background of the person who wrote the poem, so that we can fully understand why he wrote that poem. No, it's just a little psychoanalysis there. You cannot separate a poem from the poets. You can't. The two go together. So you have to understand the poet to understand the poem. Now, T.S. Eliot in full. Thomas T.S Eliot. Hope you have a pen and a book. I tell you all the time, please. Okay? Please, guys. I hope you're jotting. Thomas T.S Eliot. He was born on September 26th, 1888. Ooh, where were we then? Where were our parents then? That's not okay. At St. Louis, Missouri, US. He died January 4, 1965 in London, England. Born in US, died in London. Solomon Grundy. Okay, he's an American English poet, you know, because he has, you know, dual citizenship, but the US and England. Okay, American English poet, playwright, literary critic, and editor, a leader of the modernist movement in poetry in such works as The Wasteland. He's in fact, The Journey of the Magi wasn't really popular, it wasn't renowned like the poem, his collection The Wasteland and 4 quartets, The Wasteland 1922 and 4 quartet 1943. Eliot exercised a strong influence on Anglo-American culture from the 1920s until late, from the 1920s until late in the century. Eliot was descended from a distinguished New England family that had relocated to St. Louis, Missouri. Now, this is to tell you that he is an English poet, but then his family relocated to St. Louis, in England. That, you know, some of, like most people do it these days, they go and, you know, when you have your child in the US, the child is accorded automatic citizenship, though I don't know if that is still in place since Donald Trump became president. But when a child is born, that is why you see parents striving to ensure that their children just get born in a reputable hospital in the United States, so that they can have dual citizenship, both the Nigerian and the American. So that's the same issue with Eliot. He was born there, so he automatically became a citizen, and he's originally from England. So his family allowed him the wildest education available in his time, with no influence from his father to be practical and to go into business. You know, it's typical for fathers. You know, how many of you can walk up to your parents now and say, Daddy, I have this thing for poetry, I write poems, I don't think I want to study, you know, law. I think I just want to write my poems. I want to imagine, I want people to see my style, I want to express myself in the world. You know, your father will first look at you. Are you even being practical? They want us to be practical. Don't you know, at least to get a good reputation? You can always do that, but try to be practical, get a good job. You know, our parents will encourage us to at least do something to, you know, we know that is your passion, but keep it aside. If your passion doesn't put food on the table, you get. But now we are going to see that even then, when parents were very strict on what their children did, Eliot's father wasn't. He had no influence. He didn't care whether he was being practical, meaning facing life as it is and going to a business. Okay, so you could see his father had a great influence on him. So from Smith Academy in St. Louis, he went to Milton in Massachusetts. From Milton, he entered Harvard in of course, you know, here Harvard. When you know, if you know more that gained admission in Harvard, that person must be really, most of you can gain admission in Harvard. Hope you know that. It's just the opportunity that you haven't been accorded. That is the truth. In fact, most of you are very intelligent. Yes, you have great IQ. Don't worry. Don't assume you might not be so good at it. No, don't ever limit yourself. It is just the opportunity you haven't been accorded. Okay? So he get admission in Harvard. Harvard is renowned, one of the best universities in the entire world on earth. Now, we are done with the poet. Brief background of the poet. Okay? If you're in a class, would have gone deeper analyzing Thomas, but I expect you to make that research yourself, because I will set questions on the background of the poet. Now, journey of the magi. I'm saying magi. That's how I choose to call it. I don't know how you want to call it now. So, though often thought as a minor in T.S. Elliot's overall oeuvre, that means a fancy French term that basically means everything the guy's ever done. You understand? His overall oeuvre, meaning everything he has ever done. Magi was perhaps like the wasteland we're up here. Journey of the magi was down here. Down! You won't even see my hand. My hand is been down here. You understand? It wasn't one of his best works. You understand? But it was unique in a way, really unique. Now, everything the guy has ever done is nevertheless cited by academics as a piece that signifies, here why it is unique, because it is a piece that signifies a major transformation in the poet's career. He wasn't writing like this before, but all of a sudden there was this shift. There was this shift in his thinking, in his philosophy, and he wrote the Journey of the Magi. Of course, we all know that stories. Yes, I know all my SS2 students. I believe you're Christians. You all know that story. You are told that was one of the most of you have acted it out in church. Oh, the Journey of the Magi, the three wise men, blah 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 blah. So, and it was composed right under the time that Elliot converted from Unitarianism to Anglicanism. He was an Anglican in 1927, meaning the moment, if you notice, when there's a shift in your ideology, even it affects your writing. Yes, when there's a shift in your ideology, it affects your writing. You understand? So, that's why different people have different ideology. Now, he used to be a Unitarianism, he converted to Anglicanism. You understand? And the Anglican, he got to introduce to Jesus Christ and the birth, and his death and everything. And all of a sudden, it changed the type. From then, there was a shift. He became a metaphysical poet. He started writing metaphysical poetry. He started being philosophical about life and death and heaven and earth. Are you getting my point? So Journey of the Magi then often gets scrutinized for containing bits and pieces of Eliot's feelings about said conversion. Of course, you can't separate a poet from his work. You understand? So people might say he's not being objective in writing that poem. He was subjective based on how he felt. But that is why it is poem, okay? Even though the poet itself isn't that on the surface anyway about Eliot at all. On this, of course, if you study this poem now, it wasn't about Eliot at all. Instead, the piece details the thoughts of one particular magus. Now, magi plural, magus singular. That's why fungi plural, fungus singular. Now, one of them was one telling. He's like the narrator talking about the event. It's like a dramatic monologue. What is a dramatic? You know what a dialogue is. You know what a monologue. So this poem is a dramatic. I hope you are taking these things. I don't think I mentioned that in the notes. I hope you're jotting. Now, that is the singular version of Magi. One of the three wise men. The dudes bringing frankincense, gold, and myrrh to the newborn Jesus. Right, those are the guys we're talking about. So that is what the poem is about. This poem takes place just a smidge before the wise men get to the stable. It details the hardship of their journey. Yes, this poem, we'll get to see it line by line. You know how we do it, Miss Gift. We analyze the poem, we dissect, we cut corner, we analyze, we comment, we examine. It's just like you give us a cadaver or we are trying to do an autopsy now. Let's see why this poem was written. That's like the background. Are you guys getting? Now, it details the hardship of the journey, the skepticism of the magus. That's that particular narrator singular. Seems like they left that part out of the Bible. What do you think? Do you think so? Do you think? Sometimes you can always. It could be a fictional allusion. You understand? It could be fictional. It could be non-fictional. so he might not give correct details, but he added a period where there was hardship. But is it not likely? Don't you think so? We know 3 wise men came to pay homage, and we know the weather. We read it. The topography then. King Herod was king, so it is likely those men went through that, right? It doesn't have to be stated in the Bible, because all we gave account of was the good news that they came to pay homage. 3 wise men. Are you getting it? So it's possible those men, even going and coming, they must have encountered a lot, because they came with their animals. By then we didn't have cars or airplanes or phones to make calls. They had to even knock on the king's door to request to see the newborn king. That's when the king got intimidated. Well, let's not digress. In the end, the narrator is shaken to his very core by what he sees, because change, it is coming, and change can be a scary business. Yes, hope change can be pretty scary. Change can be pretty scary, and that was why King Herod was scared. For one thing, it is always kind of neat to see traditional stories played with a beat, especially by authors who are the best of their kind at such playing. Yeah, Thomas, the Bible doesn't get into the wise men's head, really, and so the journey of the magi fills in a gap. Yes, which is always cool. But what if we don't really know the Bible or its stories? What if we are not Christians? What could this poem possibly have to tell us? These are, let's be, skeptical. Let's be practical. What about those who do not really read the Bible or or people who don't believe in the Bible? Their ideologies does not toe in line with that of, Anglicanism, in quotes, or Christianity. And how do they study such a poem? What impact will this story have on them? What message will they take from this poem? That was why they said the poem was kind of subjective. What kind of message was it? Have you asked those questions? I'm going to ask you in your essay, so I hope you have answers already. So what could this poem possibly have to tell us? Now, a lot. Can you see that? As it turns out, a lot, meaning they're trying to tell you that even if you don't know the Bible story at all, you don't know the story of those 3 wise men, this poem can tell you a lot. Here is why. As it turns out, if we move for a minute past the biblical nature of this poem, yes, we have the denotative and the connotative. I tell you guys all the time. If we move for a minute past the biblical nature of this poem, what the thing's really about is change, and we have all had to deal with that. Moving to a new town, change is not everybody deals with change, or people deals with change in different ways. You understand? Who wants to, imagine leaving your friend, moving to a new town. These were 3 wise men going to welcome a new king, welcome this Jesus Christ. It was going to be a change for the whole world, and it was a change. And we moving to a new town, first day of high school. Some of you moved into Bellary probably in SS1, and it was like first day of high school. You don't know anybody. Puberty, most of you battle with that, and that's why some of you get a little bit depressed time to time, but you haven't realized that yet. Now, any kind of spiritual revelation, Christian or otherwise, going to college, yeah, some people are looking forward to going to college now. That's your friends in SS3. You get the picture? Do you get the picture? All of these things are turning points in our lives, and you know what? They can be terrifying. It is okay to get scared of change, but it is also okay to attempt, move into it, be bold enough to face change. Okay? Even if they turn out to be pretty awesome in the end. College, for instance, is just the best once you are done hyperventilating about it. I know some of you are thinking, to me, as I am like this, I'll go to university, I'll be staying on my own, this, this. Now, before we move forward, I just remembered something, and if I don't say it now, I might not remember to say it later. Now, if you're one of those students that just want to watch the videos and you don't participate in the activities, you are not helping yourself. I am advising you as your teacher and as your tutor, and I would always want the best for you. If all you do is download the notes, watch the video, you won't do activities, you are not helping yourself. These activities and my commentaries will help you know where you have erred, where you have made an error, where there needs to be an improvement in. Because some of you watch these videos. Yes, you do. I know it. You watch them, you watch this lecture, but you intentionally don't just do the activities because you don't want to do them. After all, I have the lecture videos. What is there? If I want anything, I'll go there. For all the students who have been participating in the activities, there has been a remarkable improvement in their writing. Ask any of them. You have them on your WhatsApp, on your Facebook or whatever. Chat them up. There has been a remarkable improvement. They keep getting better. The same complaints I made about, let me say, in Wayanema last week, will not be the same complaint I will make this week. They are a work in progress, and those students, the same complaint I might want to make about, Ariye, Praise, or Susan, or Rejoice, or Work, or anybody, it is not the same. You might not notice that you guys are improving, but there have been a remarkable improvement in your writing, and top notch. So if all you do is watch the videos, please suit yourself, okay? So let's make progress. But hope you have Waik and Neko ahead, okay? Yeah, that's the poem now. So we are going to briefly dissect this poem. I'm super excited. So like we said, it's a dramatic monologue. It's a travelogue. Travelogue. Okay, TRAVOLOGUE. We have dialogue, monologue, blah 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 blah, epilogue, prologue, travelogue. That is a story told about a journey. You understand? The experiences of someone during a journey. You tell, like maybe you're traveling to the US, or you're even traveling to PH, and you happen to write a poem. You understand? Or you write a story about your journey. That kind of poem becomes a travelogue. So the journey of the magi, it's a travelogue. The three wise men. Now, a cold coming we had of it. Just the worst time of the year. You can see they made this journey in a hazardous weather. In a very hazardous weather. You understand? Hope you know that even when Jesus was born, there was tension, political tension. So it's very possible it was a hazardous weather. Just the worst time of the year. For a journey, and such a long journey, they are confirming the fact that it was quite long. It took them a long time. The way is deep and the weather sharp. Take note of the imagery. If I were you, I'll be underlining certain words now. Are you doing that with me? Thank you. Good job. The way is deep and the weather sharp. The very dead of winter. Winter. Cold. Nigerians say catching cold. Cold winter. Rain, snowy and all. Really cold. Imagine traveling. And it's not like you're in a car. You know how it is, that December period, Hamatan. Hope you know how it is. You know how dry our lips get and how we are cold. And imagine waking up in the morning. Thank God that Christmas period don't really wake up, but that early January when you have to resume for school, and most of us are on cardigan. Some of us use the opportunity and wear the wrong cardigan. Say, I'm cold. So the way is deep and the weather sharp. The very dead of winter, when it's at its peak. We call it Hamatan. No, Hamatan. When the Hamatan is at its peak. Are you getting it? So one of the Magus, that's one now, don't forget, he's telling us, the narrator, it's a monologue telling us what they experience. Are you getting it? Now, and the camel's god, sore foot, refractory. Now the camels, they were riding a camel. It's not always easy. Those camels are always burdened with a lot of loads. But they complain. They are tired. Their foot are sore because they've been riding on winter for a really long time, and they're lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted. You understand? Then after they're having a nostalgic feeling, they were grumbling. They are tired, or they started regretting this journey. The summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, they're just having home. Have you ever been somewhere and you wish you were at home? Probably you travel and say, it's me, this thing's happening to me. Then if I were at home now, I'll be doing this, I'll do that. You understand? And the silken girls bringing sherbets. It's a type of fruit and drink sherbet. They're imagining the girls, the ladies, they're romanticizing, just fantasizing of the ladies then who used to serve them, nostalgic feeling. You know how it's like you're stranded somewhere and you just wish you didn't embark on that journey. Are you getting it? So the men are this nostalgia. Are you getting it? Beautiful, guys. Then the camel men cursing and grumbling. They are tired. They are tired. And running away and wanting their liquor and women. Are we together? Wanting their liquor and women. You understand? And the night fires goes out and the lack of shelters. Now they are saying that, and you know how the Bible say, for night cometh when no man shall walk. Now night came and there was blackout. The night fires went out. You understand? There wasn't electricity then, but everywhere became dark. No accommodation, lack of shelters. Are you guys dissecting this poem with me? Let's keep up. Lack of shelters. And the city is hostile and the towns unfriendly. God, if I were them, I'll turn back. But they knew they had a target. They knew the significance of that birth. You understand? The city is hostile. You know when? Have you ever been somewhere everybody seems to be unfriendly? Have you ever been? Like people are very harsh. Sometimes it could be the society that made them that way. But then, have a little joy now. Have some joy. People are so hostile. And have you ever been to a place? It's like you wanted to leave, but you're even uncomfortable to stand up. People are so hostile, and the town unfriendly, and the village dirty and charging high prices. Meaning, they were tired. Okay, let us go into the city and chill small. Guess what? Things are very expensive. See, a hard time we had of it. Oh, my guy. Thank you for being resilient. We are grateful for you paid homage to our king. Are you guys with me? So, it was really a hard time. I said, at the end, we prefer to travel all night, sleeping in the snatches with the voice singing in our ears, saying that this was all folly, meaning it's not worth it. They wanted to travel at night, sleeping in snatches, meaning they didn't like the day journey. Day journey encounter a lot of bandits, a lot of thieves, and all. The night journey is quite peaceful. So they said, okay, since they are not welcome, let us just keep up with our night journey. We will sleep in snatches, meaning anywhere a man finds his head, he laid there. You understand? But there were voices in their head. This was all folly. It was futile. Sometimes that is why there's sometimes you need to shut up the voices in your head, because sometimes they're not good. You might say always listen to yourself. Your gut is always some quote like your gut is always right. Sometimes your gut is not right, especially when you're being subjective. Your gut will tell you that thing you want it to tell you, and then you say my gut told me, and then everything turns out so, and you begin to mistrust yourself. Does it mean I'm not good enough? Does it mean I can't even advise myself? But they said they will carry on. They will carry on. They won't give up. Then they say, then at dawn. You know when it's dawn? Morning, 5 a.m. It's getting bright. I love the weather then. How many of you love the weather at that time? We came down to a temperate valley. Wet. It was wet. Vegetation. Below the snow line. Smelling of vegetation. It means growth. With a running stream and a water mill. Oh, finally, camel will rest, wash his feet, drink water. Those camels have suffered. And a water mill beating the darkness. And 3 trees on the low sky. This is an allusion. The poem is an allusion, obviously, biblical allusion. But these 3 trees on the low sky, who can tell me? I want someone to say it even before I say it. Just quickly say it to yourself so that you can say, I said it. Now, 3 trees. It's an allusion. It's a reference to the crucifixion. It was said it was crucified on tree. We had one here, then Jesus in the middle, and the other man. So 3 trees. So they sighted it. It means they had a foresight of what was to come. Are you guys with me? And an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. Okay. Then we came to the tavern with vine leaves over the lintel. We came to the tavern, meaning, okay, they know they had arrived. When they saw those trees, they know that this has to be the town. But they came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel. Vine leaves, that was how they were then. They want to say by vine leaves over their lintel. They always put it there. 6 hands at an open door, dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskin. Meaning, when they even got to the town, even the people did not know that a king had been born. He visited Herod, who did not know. They knocked on a door trying to say, we are trying to locate is it this house that this king was born? But people did not even know. All they wanted money and wineskin. This empty wineskin, meaning they have drunk up. The wineskin is empty where they keep their wine. The people are just in a jolly mood. They don't even know the significance of the era. That's why sometimes you need to be sensitive to your environment. You need to be, there are places you come in, that. Hope you know, if you're very sensitive. In fact, one skill that is really underrated, guys, let me tell you, SS2, one skill that is really underrated is the ability to read the room. What did I say? Ability to read the room. There's some places you will enter, you will know that a quarrel or a fight or there is tension, something just happened. You can just read. It's an ability you need to have so that you don't make a fool of yourself. That ability is underrated and not many people have it. That is why for some of you that have that ability, you know just how to behave in that situation. You don't come in laughing. You enter a place and you know that something, ability to read what is going on. Highly underrated. Now, okay, so these people don't even know the significance of the era in their own place in Bethlehem. And there were, it was in Bethlehem, and there were no information, meaning they were still stranded. Though they know they're in the town, they had the feeling, they read the environment, but no information. Instead, people were drinking in stupor. And so we continued and arrived at evening, not a moment too soon, finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. It was, you may say, satisfactory. It was, you may say, satisfactory. That is the manger. You might say, it's not bad. Okay. All this was a long time ago, I remember. Meaning, this is now the narrator saying, it happened a long time ago. He's being philosophical. From here now, his tone becomes philosophical. Listen, follow me. The tone has come, that's being philosophical. And I will do it again, but set down. This sets down. This, where we laid all that way for. They presented the gifts. But they're asking, did they do all that for birth or for death? This was a birth, certainly. Of course, Jesus was born. We had an evidence. We could see a baby, maybe cradling the baby. The narrator said, I have seen birth and I have seen death. But I had thought they were different. Philosophical. Now follow me. Make sure nobody is distracting you. I have seen birth and death, but had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death. Death. How can the birth of a child be hard? How can it be bitter? Why is it being philosophical? How can a birth be bitter? Because they had a premonition of what was to come. They knew that this birth was eventually going to lead to a death that will redeem the world. So it was hard, it was bitter, it was more like an agony. Now it became a condolence visit. They knew. Because Jesus' birth was not an ordinary birth, you know that. And that's it for us, like death, our death. Did they die? Yes. Their inner man died. They became new people. They were converted from paganism to Christianity. This birth of Jesus puts a death to their old life. That is why they underline our death. It is connoted a death to their old life, not a physical death, now a death to their old way of doing things. Then finally, after this birth brought about a death to their old life. From paganism they became Christians. Then finally, we returned to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease here. Meaning, after they had paid homage, they knew their life has been changed. But they returned to their places, but they didn't feel comfortable. No longer at ease here in the old dispensation. Their life, this is their life. They just left for some days to travel. All of a sudden, it's old dispensation. You understand? This is the significance of the birth of Jesus. Their people are now alien, with an alien people clutching their gods. Meaning, it became weird. The same gods they were worshipping, they didn't want to worship the gods again. They knew the significance of Christianity. So they saw the people as alien, worshipping gods. Are you guys with me? And I should be glad of another death, meaning they are looking forward to his crucifixion and resurrection, because they know the significance of that. So after they encountered Jesus, their life was turned around, and they were no longer comfortable in their own land, in their own skin. Even the gods they were born into, they began to see it as alien. That is, and Jesus was just a little child then, but they had an encounter. Are you getting it? So that is the journey of the magi, and that is why some people are saying he was being subjective. That was his personal experience, probably when he encountered Christianity. That was why the tone in his poetry changed. So guys, I hope you have successfully analyzed this poem. I'll be giving you an activity as usual. For those who took my advice, please endeavor to